Hi everybody. I wasn't planning on doing a live chat today, but some of the conversations going on social media provoked me to want to do one. So I will wait a little bit to really start talking until a few of you hop on. Pardon my appearance. I have no makeup on. I was crying a little bit earlier. I had an early morning doctor's appointment and it's just a gloomy day. I'm not feeling great. So excuse my appearance, but I just felt the need to say something, and I want to make sure that it comes across the right way because I don't know that it always does on social media. It's hard to tell people's tones of voice or, what they're trying to say through writing. And even someone like me for whom writing is basically a career, it's still hard to sometimes find the most appropriate words to really express, what we're going through. Sorry, I'm trying to get comfortable here. So I'm going to try my best though, because I think that a lot of us have a lot of things weighing heavily on our minds right now. And a lot of us are feeling many different ways depending on who we voted for and depending on how we feel about the outcome of the election. So let me say this. I respect everybody's differences fully and wholeheartedly, and I respect our right to vote in this country, and I love it. And I have many, many family members and friends who have voted both ways. So I know a ton of Trump supporters, and I know a ton of people that voted otherwise. So I just want to be clear in saying that I do respect everyone's opinions, and I realize that everyone has their own reasons for why they vote the way they do, and their own life experiences that shape their identities and their belief systems and their values. And I couldn't respect that more. But I want to kind of explain why I'm sad today. It's not a Democrat-Republican thing at all. As I've mentioned in other posts, I have voted both ways in my life. I'm 33, so I've voted in, I think, 4 elections now, and I have voted Republican twice, and I have voted Democrat twice. So this isn't a party thing. If I were to take an online quiz, of which I took several, I'm a pretty moderate Democrat, so I lean independent. But I would, I guess, be considered a liberal on some issues. So it's not that. It's not about the politics per se. It's about the fact that I feel, and I may get emotional saying this because I'm very personally affected by this. I feel very disheartened that I've tried to devote my adult life to spreading message of positivity and inclusion, inclusiveness, respect for everybody, regardless of disability or ability, regardless of race or gender, sexual orientation, socioeconomic status, education. I've acknowledged varying levels of privilege and bias in our country. And since a young age, I've just had a heart for helping others. I remember taking a career aptitude test in high school, and I scored that I should be a social worker because I've always had that compassionate and empathetic heart for helping others. And I feel that I invest a lot of my life kind of fighting for the underdog, the people who are sick, who are chronically ill, who are disabled, and especially people who are further marginalized in intersectional ways beyond that. So people of color who are sick or disabled, people of different religions or ethnic backgrounds who are sick or disabled, women who are sick or disabled. So to have one candidate have run on a campaign that was so hateful and so marginalizing and just seemed so against those groups of people that I talk with every day and that I feel that I try to give a voice to and that I want to help or uplift or inspire or, do anything I can do for, it's just disheartening. So it's not about politics as far as Democrat or Republican. It's not about Hillary Clinton. I didn't think she was the best Democratic candidate, and I was thrilled to see a woman on the ballot, beyond thrilled, and I teared up at that historic moment to know that we have a chance. But it wasn't about her. It's more being hurt by him, by things he has said and done that have affected so many people close to me and that have affected me personally. I know people who have been raped and sexually assaulted. I have Black and gay family members. I have friends of all different religions and races and backgrounds. And my heart just hurts for anyone who's feeling like they're being ostracized or overlooked or mocked or made fun of or forgotten. And my heart hurts for the people that may lose health care or who may see changes to their health care that will negatively impact them. Now, I know that the healthcare system had problems and has problems that need to be addressed. So that, that's across the board. Everyone recognizes the problems with the Affordable Care Act. But I just feel for the people that could lose their health insurance, who could lose access to medications they need. I feel for, people who are in a wheelchair and have different disabilities and see our president openly mocking and making fun of people like themselves. It just hurts. I'm a person who hurts for not just myself, but for others. And I think, how would I be feeling if I had kids right now? I'd be afraid and I'd be confused as to how to talk to them about, well, why? Why was he the choice for the Republican Party and why was she the choice for the Democratic Party? It's a sad state of affairs and it's scary that those were our two candidates, and it makes me worry for our future as a nation if you can have people who are corrupt or shady or who are just terrible human beings be the people that are representing the face of our nation. So it's not anger and it's not bitterness and it's not being a sore loser, and it's not attacking anybody that voted for him, because I do understand why people voted for him, and I can empathize with their reasoning for doing so, and so I would never hold that against somebody, even if I don't agree with it. It's just a profound sadness. I feel almost a loss. I feel a loss of progress that's been made, progress that I have tried in my very, very small way to fight for and to stand for. And it just makes me sad as a woman and as, honestly, a disabled woman to feel that fear and sadness and to feel that hate, or what comes across as hate, regardless of whether or not the person is actually hateful, that the appearance of hatred can actually can win. Not saying that I would have been thrilled if she won, but I'm certainly not thrilled that I feel a bigoted, hateful platform won, and it makes me sad and scared. And that being said, I wanted to clarify that my feelings about the election are not, against Trump supporters or like anti-Republican or even anti-government or anything like that. And it's not a judgment call on anybody else who feels differently than me. But I just felt that I had to express why I feel the way I do. And I hope that came across in a way that wasn't judgmental. Because, for some reason that I can't really wrap my head around, and other people who I think feel the same as me have been called self-righteous. Brutus, please stop. Sorry about my dog. Have been called self-righteous or elitist or, too idyllic. And I just don't get it. Everyone is entitled to their own beliefs and their own opinions. And I'm simply sharing my own beliefs on my own platform, which I think is okay. I'm not telling anyone else how to think. Brutus, he always wants to chime in. I'm not telling anyone else how to think or what to believe or how to feel. I'm just sharing my truth. What I will say is that, anyone else who feels the way I do, I'm with you. And I get it. And for those who don't agree with me or don't feel the same way as me, I'm still here for you. I'm still always going to fight for the greater good. I'm a person who tends to value the greater good a lot and maybe sometimes prioritize that over myself as an individual. And I will continue to do that, especially when it comes to issues of health, patient advocacy, disability rights, healthcare, and animals. Those are the causes that are really important to me, and I will continue to try to be a voice for those of us who are, dealing with these issues. Life is hard enough day to day. We don't need all the hatred and mean-spiritedness and bigotry and bitterness and fighting. We just don't need any of it. So like I wrote in a post earlier today, whether or not we agree, Mr. Trump is going to be our president, and we just have to really hope for the best and pray that our voices are heard and that the future is bright. That's all we can hope for. And like I said, I think that all change starts with us. So if you're unsatisfied with the results of the election, or you are satisfied and you still just want to see positive changes, in one of my previous posts, I listed a multitude of organizations that you can get involved in that have to do with health advocacy, disability rights, disease-specific fundraising, social justice, civil liberties, equality, all of that, particularly pertaining to health and wellness and disability. So I urge you that whether you feel celebratory or whether you feel downtrodden, that you do check those out, because I think we all need a dose of kindness and goodness and positivity right now. And, some of the ways we can do that are practicing self-care. If you have a faith, a religion or a faith, or you're a spiritual person, hold dear to that. If you're feeling sad, lean on your family and friends. A lot of us don't have family and friends that agree with us politically, but I think we all can agree to be there for one another, if someone is hurting or having a hard time with something. I may have gotten disconnected. I don't know. We're going to keep trying. So hold those things dear and try to think outside of yourself, and do something positive for your community. If you're upset by this, don't make a fuss and make a scene and get nasty with people or just continue to rant online. Do something positive. Go volunteer at a food bank, or if you're not able to do that, sign up to be an online activist for one of these health organizations, or do your part to spread awareness about disability rights and about other causes that mean something to you. Do a random act of kindness for a stranger. There are just so many things that we can do in terms of trying to focus on the good instead of focusing on all this negativity. And I think that as hard as it is, sometimes we need to focus on that. And that's not just about the election. That's about living with illness. That's about, any hardships or struggle that you might face in your life. There are a lot of times in life where we're going to get knocked down. I think actually Secretary Clinton might have said that in her concession speech. I'm not sure. But, we all go through struggles. We all face hurdles. We're going to fail. We're going to face roadblocks. We're going to have challenges. But we have to rise. We have to overcome those challenges. Keep our heads up high. Keep treating people with decency and kindness, empathy, compassion, love, respect. All of it. It's just so important, and it's the only way that we're ever going to see any kind of positive change. Sometimes progress looks like a few steps forward and then a few steps back. And when I say progress, I don't just mean politically or socially. I mean even in our health situation. And that's something I've tried to remember. Sometimes we'll have setbacks when living with these illnesses where something's working for us, and then we experience a setback, and then it's kind of back to square one, and we have to keep going. So in regards to your health, in regards to however you're feeling about the election, that's all we can do is just try to keep going and keep moving forward in love and with positivity, and with respect for one another. We need to respect one another's differences. These differences are what our country was built on. And, I've been someone who has, in a lot of ways, been different for a lot of my life. I get that I have the privilege of being, a white woman here in America, from a great family. I had a nice childhood, a nice upbringing, a great education. I acknowledge those things, but I've also faced struggles and strife because of a lifetime of chronic illness and disability, bullying, never quite fitting in at school. I've had men treat me poorly. I think many of us, if not all of us women, have at some point faced some kind of sexual harassment or sexism, misogyny, sexual assault, so I have many privileges that I acknowledge and I'm grateful for, but I've also been very different a lot of my life, and I mean that in good ways and bad. I often have different social, political views than people close to me. I'm a very idealistic person. I have a really big heart with almost too much empathy, to the point that it's sometimes self-destructive, because I do get really emotionally affected by occasions where I feel that people are being oppressed or ostracized or hurt in any way. So with all of those things and just some different personality quirks and, just lots of different things I've been through and my health situation, I've always been a little different, and so I want to stand up for anyone else that's a little different too. And I want Americans and the world to realize that all of these differences are what makes us beautiful. It's what makes our democracy work, and we just have to accept and embrace those differences. I think we need to strive for not just tolerating them, but embracing them. And, we need to focus on inclusion, but we also need to focus on not inadvertently excluding people. And just be kind to one another. That's always my biggest message on this page. We are all dealing with struggles. Some of our health issues are worse than others, and a little kindness goes a really long way. So I actually have a positive story to share from today. I went this morning and got fitted for an Arizona cast, which, long story short, is like a custom brace cast type situation for my ankle and foot. My doctor called it semi-permanent, but it's removable. He just meant that because I have to wear it as much as possible. So like not 24/7, but pretty much all the time for the foreseeable indefinite future, possibly for the rest of my life. So I was like a little bummed about that, and I think at this point, most of you know that as much as I used to try to avoid politics, I can't anymore. And I was not a Donald Trump supporter, so I was a little upset about that this morning, upset about the cast situation, because as I said in my previous chat, I had to get these ugly shoes and everything. And then I go to treat myself to Starbucks, and I'm in the drive-thru, and I had spent 9 hours yesterday at Starbucks, actually working on my website and a couple freelance projects that I'm working on, and I stuck my wallet in my laptop bag. Well, I didn't exactly take my laptop bag with me to the prosthetics and orthotics place when I got my cast made, so I pull up to the drive-thru window and I don't have my wallet. And the guy looked at me and he was just like, you know what, don't worry about it. It's only $5. Like, everyone's having a tough day. Here you go. And he gave me my chai tea latte for free, which I thought was awesome. And so the next time I go back to Starbucks, I'm going to spread my little kindness by paying it forward and, buying a drink for somebody else. So I think that small deeds and small tokens of kindness can really go a long way. You never know. You never know what your dogs are getting into in the kitchen. That's apparent. You never know, what other people are going through. So over the next few days and few weeks, give people some space. For some people, this election was more personal than it was for others. And so I think we need to give people time to kind of get over it in their own time and kind of mourn and grieve and move past it in their own way and on their own terms, because we all cope with things differently and we all had various levels of personal investment in this election. So let's all just try to be nice to one another and respect each other's differences, embrace one another's differences, and just hope and pray that we do see positive changes in the areas of healthcare, disability rights, and so much more. Health and safety is always a priority for me, and it really should be for our nation as well. But so is equality and also equity, which are actually two different things. Let's just remember all of that and just work towards a better future. Like I said, there's so many ways you can get involved with so many different causes. If you want to put some goodness into the world, regardless of how you voted. I will always be here to try to be an advocate for everybody and to at least share my own story as best I can in the hopes that it will help or inspire other people. So I do want to say that I apologize for posting political things this election season. I usually don't, but I felt more personally invested and more personally affected this election than ever before. And so since I do have a platform, I really wanted to use my voice to share that. And I tried to do so in a nuanced way that was respectful and not bringing anybody down or bashing anybody. I just wanted to be clear about my points of view and why I felt that way. She was an imperfect candidate, but so was he. He wasn't who I would have chosen to win, but now I just have to put my faith in him and keep my faith in God that, the future's going to be bright, and it starts with us. We are the change. We have to be the change that we want to see. If we want to see better leaders in the future, we have to be better leaders ourselves and elect better leaders next time. And for now, let's all do as much good as we can and just spread love and kindness and give people time to process everything. And I would use that same advice, not just for something like an election, but it's something to keep in mind if someone gets a health diagnosis too. Everyone always expects you to just suddenly be able to cope with it and, okay, stay positive, chin up. But people need time to process things that impact their lives. That could be election results. That could be the loss of a job or loss of a loved one or a diagnosis. So I think that it's just really important to remember that everyone copes with everything in so many different ways, and we just have to keep that in mind moving forward. This turned out to be a lot of talking in circles and repeating myself and longer than I anticipated, so I apologize. But I just wanted to be clear that my intentions in talking some politics on here was never to put anyone else down, but rather to just explain my stance on things and to let you guys know that regardless of who you voted for or what side of the aisle you are on, I will advocate for you and I will advocate for us as best I can. And I hope that some of my posts today have inspired you to go out there and try to do a little bit of good in the world, because no matter what, we need it. And I hope that you're all feeling well and taking time to practice self-care and to make yourself a priority, while also keeping the needs of others in mind. Okay, well, thank you and have a great day. I am not feeling wonderful, so I am going to rest. Thank you all for joining, and I've been having some troubles with the comments here, so I will probably just have to respond to them once I sign off. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.